Travel before the 4th of July holiday was a nightmare. Thousands of United Airlines flights were either delayed or canceled. The airline blames it on severe weather in parts of the U.S. and is working to prevent the same level of disruptions in the future, it says. And customers severely impacted by those flight disruptions will get 30,000 free mileage plus miles. But how do you know if you can get compensated if your flight is canceled or delayed?
Well, let's see if we can find out for you. Kyle Potter, executive editor of Thrifty Traveler, joins us this morning to answer some of those questions for us. Good morning to you, Kyle. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And I feel like every time we talk, we just talk about when things go wrong in travel. It just keeps happening, right?
Right?
Well, we're thankful we have you to help us figure it all out. So after all those issues we just talked about last week, I know a lot of people are wondering if this is going to be the trend, or are we going to get better? How are you feeling about all these operational struggles, so to speak?
I'm a little bit on the fence because I think on one hand, the entire airline industry is in a much better place than it was this time a year ago, when we couldn't go more than a week without hearing about these kinds of disruptions that we saw last week from United and a handful of other airlines. They've staffed up a lot. They've cut back some flights, so they're not trying to fly too much with too little. But things still aren't perfect. So while I do think travelers don't need to worry quite as much as they did last summer, we're still in that situation where it's probably best to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
And the first thought on anyone's mind dealing with this is, can I get compensated if my flight is delayed? What do you say to that?
Maybe, but probably not. Look, us air travelers here in the United States have shockingly few rights. Even when, these delays and cancellations are solely 100% the fault of the airline. In many cases, there's nothing in U.S. law that guarantees that passengers are going to get compensated. It really all comes down to exactly what United did this week for the problems of last week, which is they decided that they were just going to proactively give 30,000 miles to passengers who were affected by these disruptions, heading into the 4th of July. That was United's choice. There's nothing in U.S. law that required them to do that, or really required them to do anything. So it just depends on your airline. It depends on what your airline has decided to do for customers. And really, it depends on how bad things got and how far airlines feel like they need to go in order to do right by consumers.
And I would encourage anyone who gets traveler's insurance to really read all the fine print. I can't tell you how many times I bought it and they would not pay. They always have an excuse. It's so frustrating.
Oh, wow.
So can you explain what the difference is between a controllable versus uncontrollable delay and what it actually means to travelers?
Exactly. So, a controllable delay, just think of this as the airline's fault. So, we're talking about maintenance issues, crew shortages, all of the other, thousands of issues of things that can go wrong with planes and with airlines, where the responsibility really lies on the airline itself. Uncontrollable delays is basically everything else. So, bad weather, which is a constant one. The FAA and air traffic control issues, big security events in the area of where you're flying to or from, things like that are out of the control of the airlines. And the tricky part here is that it's not always so cut and dry, right? So, while United can say that, the problems last week really started with bad weather, as those problems stretched into Saturday and Sunday, is it still the fault of weather or is it something else? So we always get into this blame game between the airlines, bad weather, and especially air traffic control, where finding out which one was the reason why your flight got delayed or canceled can start to feel like a full-time job.
Wow. Well, hopefully we will avoid any more nightmares like we had last week. Thank you so much, Kyle Potter with Thrifty Traveler.